Alright, Part 394, Reserve. Part 395, Hours of Service as Driver. Subpart A, General. 1. Scope of rules in this Part. 2. Definition. 3. Maximum driving time for property carrying vehicles. 5. Maximum driving time passenger carrying vehicles. 7. Reserve. Driver's record. 8. Of duty status. 10. Reserved. 11. Supporting documents. 12. Reserve. 13. Drivers declared out of service. 15. Automatic onboard recording devices. 16 through 19. Reserve. Subpart B, electronic logging devices. Electronic logging devices, applicability and scope. Motor carrier responsibility in general. Driver responsibility in general. Electronic logging devices, data automatically recorded. 27.8. Special driving categories, other driver statuses. Electronic logging devices, recording submission, edits, and notions of data retention. Non-authenticated driver logs. Electronic logging devices, malfunction data diagnostic events. 36. Driver access to records, and 38. Incorporation by reference. Alright, subpart A, general. Scope. Scope of the rules of this part. Generally, the rules of this part apply with all motor carriage drivers except for the provided in paragraph B and R of this section. The exemption of federal requirements contained within paragraph 1 and M of this section do not permit state laws, regulation governing safe operation of commercial motor vehicles. Driving conditions. Adverse driving conditions accepted and provided in the paragraph H2 of the section. Driver who encounters adverse driving conditions defined in 395.2 cannot be, because of those conditions, safely complete the run without maximum drive time permitted with the 395.3A and 395.5A. May drive and be permitted to require to drive commercial motor vehicle not more than 2 additional hours beyond the maximum time allowed on 395.3A and 395.5A to complete the run and reach the offering safely for the occupants of the commercial motor vehicle, security of the commercial motor vehicle and its cargo. 2. Emergency conditions. In this case, the emergency driver that may complete with his or her run without being in violation of the provision or regulation of this part, but if such reason responsibly could have been completed with the absence of the emergency driver. Salesperson, the provision of 395.3 shall not apply with any of the driver salesperson whose total driving time does not exceed 40 hours in any period of 7 consecutive days. Oil field operations. Instant drivers of commercial motor vehicles usually exclusive of the transportation of oil field equipment, including stringent picking up of the piping above using pipeline servicing of the field operation, natural gas, oil industry. Any period of 8 consecutive days may end at the beginning of any off-duty of 24 more consecutive hours. In the case of specially trained driver of the commercial motor vehicle that are specially constructed for the service to oil well with the on-duty time, which shall not include waiting time with the natural gas oil well size. Such waiting time shall be recorded off-duty for the purpose of 395.8 and 395.15, where the remarks and notions indicate that the special office special duties of the period of waiting time with a separate waiting time line on the record of the duty status of the off-duty time. Also, waiting time should not be included with the calculating a 14-hour period of 395.3A2. Specially trained drivers, each of the commercial motor vehicles, are not eligible for provisions of the 395.1. Short haul operations of 100 air mile radius of the driver, except for the requirements of 395.8 and 395.11. Driver operates within 100 air mile radius of the normal working reporting location. The driver, except for the driver, salesperson, the driver ready with the remixed concrete delivery vehicle, returns to work reporting location, released from work within 12 consecutive hours. Driver of the ready mixed concrete delivery vehicle returned to the work reporting location, released in the work within 14 consecutive hours. 3A, property carrying commercial motor vehicle. The driver, except for the driver of the ready mixed concrete delivery has at least 10 consecutive hours off duty, separating 12 hours on duty. Driver of the ready mixed for the concrete delivery vehicle has at least 10 consecutive hours off duty, separating 14 hours of duty. Passenger car commercial motor vehicle. The driver has at least 8 consecutive hours off duty, separating 12 hours on duty. 4A, motor carrying commercial motor vehicle, except that the driver on ready mixed concrete delivery does not exceed the maximum driving time of specified in 395.3A3, following 10 consecutive off duties. Delivery on ready mix of the concrete delivery vehicle does not exceed 11 hours maximum drive time following the 10 consecutive off-duty hours off duty. Passenger carrying commercial motor vehicle does not exceed 10 hours of maximum driving time following the 8 consecutive off duty. 5. Motor carrier that employs the driver retains a period of 6 months accurate with the time record shown, the time of the delivery reports of duty of each day, with the total numbers of hours the driver is on duty each day, the total time the driver is released on duty each day, the total time the preceding 7 days according with the 395.8J2 with the driver's use for the first time intermittently. Operator's property carrying commercial motor vehicle does not carry a commercial driver license except for the provided paragraph of the driver, except for the requirements of 395.3A2, 395.8, 395.11, and ineligible to use the provision of 395.1E, G, 1, G, and O of this part of this. The operating property of the carrying commercial motor vehicle for a commercial driver license not required in Part 383. The subshaft the driver operates within a 150 air mile radius where the driver reports to be released from work of the normal work reporting location. The driver returns to normal working reporting location end of each of the duty tour. The driver does not drive after 14 hours after coming out on duty for the 5 days of the any period of 7 consecutive days after 16 hours after coming on duty for 2 days over the any period of 7 consecutive days. Motor carrier the employed driver retains for a period of 6 months accurate with the time record showing time of the day driver reports at duty each day with the total number of the hours duty driver is on duty each day, the time of the driver's release duty each day, the time of the whole time preceding the 7 days according with the 395-8J2 of the driver's use for the first time of the intermittently retail store delivers. The provision of 395.3A and B shall not be applied with respect of the driver's commercial motor vehicles engaged solely with the local deliveries, retail stores, and retail catalog businesses. Ultimate consumers with the driver solely within a 100 air mile radius of the driver's working reporting location during the period of December 10th to December 25th, both inclusive of each year of the sleeper berths. Property carriers, commercial motor vehicles, and a general driver may operate with a property carrying commercial motor vehicle equipped with a sleeper berth as is defined in 395.2, 393.676. Must before driving accumulated at least 10 consecutive hours off duty, at least 10 consecutive hours off the sleeper berth time, combination of consecutive sleeper berth off duty times accounting at least 10 hours, equivalent at least 10 consecutive hours off duty if the driver does not comply with the paragraph G11, A1, 2, or 3 of this section. B may not provide more than driver limit is specified in 395.3A31. Or in the case of the drivers in Alaska, the driving limit of the 395.1H1 or 2 following one 10-hour off-period duties specified in paragraph G11A1 through 4 sections. However, the driver is permitted that only 8 hours or fewer has passed since the end of the driver's last off-duty break and sleeper's berth period, at least 30 minutes. May not drive more than spare period specified on 395.3A2 of the case of the driver in Alaska. Period specified on 395.1H2 after completing the duty of following more than 10-hour off duty specified in paragraphs G11A1 through 4 of this section. D. Must exclude the calculation 14-hour period with 395.3A2 sleeper period, berth period, at least 8 hours, at least 8 but less than 10 consecutive hours, specific requirements following rules applying with determined compliance with the paragraph G11 of this section. A. The term equivalent at least 10 consecutive hours off duty, meaning the period at least 8 hours but less than 10 consecutive hours in sleeper berth, and summer period at least 2 hours but less than 10 consecutive hours either in sleeper berth off duty with the combination thereof. B. Calculation of the driving limit includes all the drive time compliance must be recalculated end of the first or 2 periods you comply with the paragraph G12A of this section. Calculations of the 14-hour period in 395.3A2 includes all time of the calculation 20-hour period 395.1H2 for the drivers in Alaska on duty except for the sleeper berth of the period at least 8 hours but less than 10 consecutive hours up to 2 hours riding in the passenger seat with the passenger carrying moving the highway immediately before and on after duty for the least 8 but less than 10 consecutive hours sleeper berth complying with it must be recalculated from the end of the first 2 periods used and comply with the requirements of paragraph G12A of this section. To specifically trained driver with a specially constructed oil well servicing the commercial motor vehicle, the natural gas oil well location. Specially trained driver that operates with the commercial motor vehicle, specially constructed with a separate service the natural gas oil wells. So there is equipped with the sleeper berth for the defined in 395.2, 393.76 subchapter of this who is off duty with the natural gas oil well location, cumulative with the equivalent of 10 consecutive hours of the duty time, taking combination at least 10 consecutive hours off duty, sleeper berth time or time of the sleeping accommodation for the natural gas oil well location, or by taking 2 periods rest in sleeper berth or sleeping accommodation natural gas oil well location provided. Neither of the rest period are shorter than 2 hours of the driver time of the period immediately before each and after the rest of the added together does not exceed the limit as specified in 395.3A3. The driver does not drive after 14-hour after coming on duty with the following 10-hour duty and 10 hours off duty, whether the 14 hours calculated by excluding any sleeper berth, the other sleeping accommodation period at least 2 hours, which adds subsequent sleeper berth, the other sleeping accommodation period totals at least 10 hours. But by including all on-duty time, all off-duty time, non-spent sleeper berth, other sleeping accommodation, each period less than 2 hours, any period not describing paragraph G23A of the section, the driver may not return the driver subject to the normal limits of 395.3 when taking at least 10 consecutive hours of duty, at least 10 consecutive hours of the sleeper berth, other sleeping accommodation, combination of 10 consecutive hours on duty, off-duty sleeping berth time and time of the accommodations. Passenger carrying commercial motor vehicle driver while driving the passenger carrying commercial motor vehicle is equipped with a sleeper Berth defined in 395.2, 393, 397.6. Subchapter may accumulate equivalent 8 consecutive hours off duty with the time in combination with at least 8 consecutive hours off duty. Sleeper berth taking 2 periods of rest on sleeper berth, providing neither rest period is shorter than 2 hours driving time of the period immediately before and after each rest, when added together, does not exceed 10 hours. The on-duty time in the period immediately before and after each of the rest of the period, when added together, does not include the driving time after the 15th hour. And the driver may not return the driver subject with a normal limit of 395.5 without taking at least 8 consecutive hours off duty, at least 8 consecutive hours sleeper berth, or a combination of at least 8 consecutive hours off duty sleeping berth times. 8. State of Alaska property carrying commercial motor vehicle. The provision of 395.3A and B do not apply, but they apply any driver driving a commercial motor vehicle within the state of Alaska. Driver who is driving a property carrying commercial motor vehicle in the state of Alaska does not drive be required to permitted to drive. Alright, 1. More than 15 hours following the 10 consecutive off duties. After being on duty for the 20 hours more following 10 consecutive hours off duty. After having been on duty for the 70 hours ending with here 7 consecutive days and a more care for which the driver does not operate every day of the week. After having been on duty for the 80 hours in a period of 8 consecutive days for the motor carrier for which the driver operates every day in the week. Passenger carrying commercial motor vehicle, the provision 395 does not apply to any of the driver, passenger carrying commercial motor vehicle, the state of Alaska, and driver who is driving the passenger carrying commercial motor vehicle in state of Alaska must not drive the required permitted time or permitted to drive more than 15 hours following the day, 8 consecutive hours of the day. After being on duty for the 20 hours more the following 8 consecutive off duty, after having been on duty for the 70 hours in a period of 7 consecutive days with the motor carrier for which the driver does not operate every day of the week, after having on duty 80 hours a period of 8 consecutive days after the motor carrier in which the driver does not every day driver operates every day of the week. The driver who driving commercial motor vehicle the state of Alaska encounters the diverse driving conditions defined in 395.2 may drive an permitted with required with the drive commercial motor vehicle for a period of time need to complete the run after property carrying commercial motor vehicle driver complete for the run, but the driver must off duty for at least 6 consecutive hours before he or she drives again. After the passenger carry commercial motor vehicle drive completes the run, the driver must be off duty for at least 8 consecutive hours before he or she drives again. State of Hawaii, the rules 395A do not apply with the driver who drives the commercial motor vehicle in the state of Hawaii. The commercial motor carrier with the employee with the driver maintained with a retained period of 6 months accurate with a true record showing total number of the hours drivers on duty each day, with the time of each of the driver, the reports of them released from the duty each day, the travel time when the property with the carrying commercial motor vehicle, the driver, the direction of the motor of the carrier traveling non-directive driving, assuming any other responsibility of the carrier, such time must be counted on the duty unless the driver is afforded at least 10 consecutive hours off duty to arrive at the destination, which he or she must be considered off duty for the entire period. Alright, 2. When a passenger carrying commercial motor vehicle drives the direction of the motor carrier traveling but not driving, assuming any other responsibility to the carrier, such time must be counted on duty in time unless the driver afforded for at least 8 consecutive hours of the duty arriving destination, in which case he or she must be considered off duty the entire period. Agricultural operations provisions for this part shall not apply during the planting and harvesting periods as determined by each state of the drivers of the transport. Agricultural commodities from the source of the agricultural commodities location with a 150-mile air radius of the source of the farm supply with the agricultural purpose of the wholesale retail distribution point of the farm sales farms or other location where the farm supplies are intended to be used with a 150 air mile radius from the distribution point. Farm supply with the agricultural purpose of the wholesale with the distribution point with the farm supply with the retail distribution point with the farm supply with a 150 air mile radius from the wholesale distribution point. L, the groundwater well drilling operation with the incentive of the driver of the commercial motor vehicle who is used for the primary transportation operation of groundwater well drilling. Any period 7 to 8 consecutive hours may end at the beginning of any off-duty period of 24 or more consecutive hours. And the construction materials equipment and incentive of the driver of the commercial motor vehicle who use the primary transportation with construction materials and equipment. Any period 7 to 8 consecutive hours may end at the beginning of any off-duty period of 24 hours or more consecutive. And all the utility service vehicle for the provision of this part shall not apply with the driver's utility service vehicles as defined in 395.2. Property carrying driver is exempt from the requirements of 395.3A2 if the driver has returned with the driver to normal working reporting location carrier released from the driver duty with the location previous 5 day 5 duty tours over the driver that worked. The driver has returned to the normal working reporting location. The carrier released for the driver of the duty within 16 hours after coming on over the following 10 consecutive hours off. The driver has not taken an exemption with the previous 6 consecutive days, except for the driver has a new 7 to 8 consecutive period a day, beginning and ending off duty period 34 more consecutive hours allowed in 395.3. RP, commercial motor vehicle transportation to and from motion picture production sites. A driver of a commercial motor vehicle providing transportation property passengers to and from the theoretical television motion picture production sites is exempt from the requirements of 395.3 if the driver operates with a 100 air mile radius, the location where the driver reports and is released from the normal working reporting location, respect for the maximum daily hours. Typically, the driver may not drive more than 10 hours following within 8 consecutive hours off duty. For any period having on duty of 15 hours following the 8 consecutive off duty, if the driver of the commercial motor vehicle is providing transportation property for the passenger to and from theoretical television motion picture production sites operates by 100 mile air radius for the normal working reporting location, the driver is subject to 395.3a, paragraph P1 and 2 of this section does not apply. Attendants of commercial motor vehicles containing Division 1, 1, 2, and 1, 3 explosive with operators who require the Title 49, 397.5 of the attendants for the commercial motor vehicle containing Division 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3 explosives are on duty at all times performing attendance functions any of the work of the motor carrier. Operate a commercial motor vehicle containing the Division 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3 explosives subject to the requirements for a minimum of 30-minute rest breaks that may use 30 minutes from the more attendance at the time between the requirements of the rest break, provided they perform no other work during the break. With the drivers must record the rest of the break on duty time in their regular duty staff. The remarks and notions that indicate with the specific on duty periods that they use to meet the requirements of the break. Or railroad signal employee for the provision of the part which shall not apply to the signal employee defined in 395.2 for the operating of the commercial motor vehicle to engage in installing and repairing maintaining signal system employed with the railroad carrier or contractor subcontractor railroad carrier who regulated with the Federal Railroad Administration. As covered farm vehicle, the rules in this part does not apply with the drivers covered in the farm vehicle defined in Title 49 395. RT, ready-to-mix concrete delivery vehicle. The driver of the ready-to-mix concrete delivery vehicle subject to the requirement of the 30-minute rest break with a 395.3A32 may be used 30 minutes with more time spent while waiting at the commercial motor vehicle at the job site and terminal to meet the requirements for a 30-minute rest break, providing with the driver performs no other work during the break. Transportation commercial B's the provision of 395.3A32 requiring a 30-minute rest break does not apply with the driver engaged in interstate transportation of bees or commercial motor vehicle as long as the bees are on vehicle. Transportation of livestock provision of 395.A32 requires 30 minutes of rest break but does not apply with the driver engaged with the interstate transportation of livestock by commercial motor vehicle while livestock are on the vehicle. High rail vehicle, the driver on the high rail vehicle, the maximum on-duty time with the 395.3 shall not include the time of the transportation to and from the duty assignment if and so for the transportation does not exceed 2 hours per calculated calendar day or total than 3 hours per calendar month, 30 hours calendar month. Alright, if the fully accurately accounted for the records maintained with the motor carrier, such records are made available upon the request of Federal Motor Carrier, the Safety Administration, with the Federal Railroad Administration. Pipeline welding truck, the rules of this part do not apply with the driver's pipeline welding trucks defined in Title 49 CFR 393.8b. Our definitions. As used in the following words and the terms are to be construed as to mean advertising driving conditions, mean with the snow, adverse driving conditions, mean with the snow, sleet, fog, other advisory conditions, highway covered with the snow and ice, unusual road traffic conditions, none of which are apparently the basis for the information known by the person dispatching the run at the time it was begun. Agricultural commodity means any of the agricultural commodity non-processed food, fiber, livestock, including livestock defined in Section 602 of the Emergency Livestock Feed Assistance Act of 1988. Automatic onboard recording device means with electronic, electrical, mechanical device capable of the recording driver duty status information accurately, automatically required with the 395.15 of the device, and integrally with the synchronized with the specific operation from the commercial motor vehicle in which it is installed. A minimum of the device must record engine used of the road speed, the miles driven, in the day of the time. The driver salesperson means any of them employed and solely as the private carrier of the property. Commercial motor vehicle if engaged in both selling devices, service the use of the devices, delivering commercial motor vehicle the goods, providing upon whom the services are performed, and who does entirely with the radius of 100 miles of the point at which he or she would report for them devotes to more than 50% of his or her on-duty driving time with the term of selling with the goods of the purpose of the section shall include with all solicitation obtained with the reorder of the new accounts may also include other selling and merchandising activities designed to retain the customer, increase the sale of the goods and services. In addition, with solicitation obtaining the reorder of the new accounts, driver time means all the time spent driving control of the commercial motor vehicle in operation. 8 consecutive days means the period of 8 consecutive days beginning with any of the day of the time designated motor carrier for a 20-hour period. Electronic logging device means a device technology for the automatically to record the driver time with the facilitate accurate record recording driver hours. Certificate means requirements of subpart B of its part. Like ELD means the record of the duty status of the recorded with the electronic logging device, whether will reflect the data element with the electronic logging device must capture. Farms supplied with agricultural purposes mean with the product directly related with the growing and the harvesting agriculture combined during the planting and the harvesting season within each state that is determined by the state with the livestock feed at any time of the year. Groundwater well drilling rig means any vehicle with a machine, with a tractor, trailer, semi-trailer, specialized mobile equipment that propel with a drone with a mechanical power used in the highway to transport water well field operating equipment include water well drilling, pumping, service rigs equipped with excessive groundwater. High rail vehicle means the internal rail flaw detection vehicle equipped with flange highway rails. Flange high rails. Livestock means cattle, elk, reindeer, bison, horses, deer, sheep, goats, swine, poultry, including egg-producing poultry, fish used in form and for food, other animals designated by the Secretary of the Agriculture that are part of the foundation of the herd, including dairy-producing cattle, offspring, and are purchased part of the normal operation, not to obtain additional benefits under the Emergency Livestock Feed Assistance of the 1988. Mutual stops mean all stops made in one village, town, or cities may be computed as one. On-duty time means all time of the time driver begins the work required with the readiness for the work until the time of the driver to leave the work, and the responsibility of the performing work on duty time shall include all time plant, terminal, facility, other property of the motor carrier, the shipper, any other public property waiting to be dispatched unless the driver has been relieved from by the duty from the motor carrier, all time inspection, servicing condition, any commercial motor vehicle at any time, all driving time defined the term driving time, the time in which on the commercial motor vehicle other than time spent resting in and on the parked vehicle except the otherwise provided in 397.5 of the subchapter, to the time spent resting on a sleeper berth, up to 2 hours reading of the passenger set with the period of at least 8 consecutive hours of sleeper, all-time loading, unloading commercial motor vehicle, supervising, assisting, loading and unloading, and attending of the commercial motor vehicle being loaded, unloaded, remaining recent receipts of shipment loaded and unloaded, all time repairing, obtaining assistance, remaining attendance to disable the commercial motor vehicle, all time spent providing breather sample of urine specimen, including travel time from and the collection of it to comply with random reasonable suspicion post crash following up tests required in Part 382 of the subchapter directed by the motor carrier. Performing any other work with the capacity employed with the service of the motor carrier, performing any compensated with the work of the person not in a motor carrier who is not a motor carrier. Alright, ready mixed concrete delivery vehicle means for the vehicle designed to deliver the ready mixed concrete on a daily basis. Equipped with a mix of underwoods for the vehicle propulsion engine, provide the power to operate the mixture drum aggregate, mix and periodic route of the delivery site. Alright, 7 consecutive days means a period of 7 consecutive days beginning any day with the time designated by a motor carrier for 20-hour period. Signal employee had defined in Title 49-21-101. 4 means that the individual engaged in installing, repairing, maintain signal system. Sleeper berth means the berth conforming with the requirements of 39376 of the subchapter. Supporting document means that the document in any being generated with the receipt of the motor carrier with the normal course of the business described in 395.11. That can be used with the produce with the additional identifying with the information motor carrier with the enforcement officials verify the accuracy of the driver's record on duty status. Transportation of the construction equipment means the transportation of the construction pavement, the material of the construction equipment, the construction maintenance vehicle, the driver to and from the active the construction site, with the construction site, with the mobilization equipment, the material to the site with the final completion of the construction project within 75 air mile radius of the normal working reporting location driver, except for the state of the pond. The notice of the administrator that may establish a different air mile radius limitation. Purpose of the definition such limitation between 50 to 75 air mile supply with only two movements that placed entirely within the state of this paragraph does not apply with the transportation material found with the Secretary to be hazardous under Title 49-5013 and in quantity with the reporting and place black card and regulation issued to carry out this section. 24-hour period means with the 24 consecutive hours being beginning with the time of the designated motor carrier the terminal from which the driver is normally dispatched. Utility service vehicles means that commercial motor vehicle used in furtherance to repair, maintaining, and operating the structure, or any other physical facilities necessary to deliver the public utility, including the furniture, electrical, gas, water, sanitary, telephone, television, community antenna services, will engage in any activity necessary related with the ultimate delivery of such public utilities. Consumer include the travel, the movement, and from and upon between activities, including occasional travel, the movement outside of the service area with the necessity by utility emergency to determine the utility provider, except the other occasional emergency, usually operated primarily with the service area of the utility prescribed to consumers without regard to whether the vehicle is owned or leased or rented by the utility. Alright, we're gonna take a cut right here. We're gonna stop reading at 395.3. I got a headache.